Today is day 31, 30 or something of training. Just finished my run and pull-ups. I did like 55 at 55 with 20 pounds. So that's training out of the way. Training only takes up like, it should only take about, at max, if you're kind of just doing it, normally, it only takes up like 2 hours max, or it should. Right now for me, it only takes like really an hour. Of just pure training, whether that's moving my body or something. And I just say that to say, like, there's so much extra time that I have in my day that I could be using to do stuff, probably. There's bugs everywhere. It's whatever. Yeah, I could be doing stuff besides just training. I think I'm getting like kind of used to it. I'm kind of getting into a flow. Just training in the morning. I feel like is the best time to be honest. Whenever I try to like train in the afternoon or at night, I just feel so tired. But yeah. What I kind of want to do is just focus on maybe reading books and stuff like that. Just like books in general. To kind of like, I guess, exercise my brain. I don't know. But yeah, exercise my brain, learn vocabulary, learn, you know, how the best writers write, how they form their ideas, and just absorb quality inputs that will help me with my own goals, I guess, which currently is just becoming smarter, I guess, in general. I don't really know. Obviously, I'm like speaking to a camera just for myself to like practice having free-flowing thoughts and being able to form ideas in a coherent manner. That's all I'm doing so far right now. There's like a ton of other stuff I could probably focus on too, like changing up my style of voice, all these other little variables and aspects, especially even just like talking to someone face to face. Why do I want to improve this stuff? I mean, I feel like it's a pretty crucial part of life, being able to properly communicate your own thoughts and ideas in a coherent manner. And it just improves the relationships and all of that stuff. But I was thinking about it yesterday, like, we can do anything we want. Technically, we can't. We like to believe that we have this idea of freedom where we can literally do anything we want, but the truth is, every single one of us has certain constraints and limitations, and we have to live within those constraints. So, like, yes, we're free, but we're actually not. But we have a lot more freedom than most people typically kind of think of. But the main point I was saying is just that there's so many different things I could do, but I can't do all of them. And that it just applies to every single thing I do in life. And obviously, it gets kind of, you could say, overwhelming. Being aware of the things you could do and the things you can't do because you choose to do what you do. And I know, like, thinking about this doesn't help. You just have to do stuff and, you know, kind of like learn along the way and pivot and change course, you know, as you're sailing. Obviously, you want to set a general destination or target, but like, you really can't know for sure unless you do, which is good for you, I guess. Like, if you know you were just born to do something, if you have this inner desire and drive to just do this one thing, you just know. But I don't think most people live like that. At least I don't. Or maybe I just haven't thought about it enough and sat with myself long enough to really understand my own desires and wants and needs. Because everyone has their own desires. And all we're doing in this life is trying to live to fulfill those desires. And, you know, hopefully not even leave the world in a better place. All we want to do is just fulfill our own desires. And those desires are constantly changing and evolving. I guess that's the beauty of being able to observe this life, yourself, other people. It really is like a battle. It's just a constant game of power and conflict of entities trying to, you know, gain control over this world and do what they want. That's what each and every one of us are doing. And that's even kind of what nature does in its own, you know, all-powerful way. Nature doesn't care what we do. It just is, and it does what it wants. If you think of inanimate things as human-like, if we personify things like that. That's just what we do as humans, really. Truth is, though, I cannot do everything I want. And truth is, I don't want everything, so it shouldn't be that hard to choose, to be honest. I probably just, have to lock myself in a room and be bored and not stimulate my mind with all these distractions so I can actually understand myself and, really figure out what I actually want. Because you can never figure that out if you're always just filling your mind with distractions. Which, to be fair, I probably have been. It's not like I think I'm better than anyone. Truthfully, I don't think I'm better or worse than anyone, actually. I just feel like an observer of everything, of myself, of other people. Sometimes I get caught up in myself and this ego or whatever. But most of the time, if I'm alone, I'm just thinking about random stuff. You can't help but feel like you're doing something wrong. Like, I can't help feeling like that. Feeling like you're doing something wrong. Like, you should be doing something else, and that would be better for you. But you just have to keep doing something, at least. That's all we can do. Just do something and keep going. I feel like I'm doing all right with that. I wake up every day and I set a focus, a very clear, specific, simple goal of, working on my health and my body and working on that every day. And I can just slowly add stuff onto that. And it's the long game. I feel like it might be good to have topics maybe that I can think about and talk about for these videos, but honestly, it's like not even a big deal right now for me because all I'm doing is just practicing, just speaking in general, because I know that if I just do it every single day, just a little bit, then I'll slowly get more comfortable and all that jazz. So it's just a process. It hasn't even been like a month really. And I wouldn't say I've gotten like any better or worse dramatically. But sometimes it's just about doing the thing. Like, not overthinking everything so much and just doing some stuff. I feel like I am very slowly though. Very, very slowly figuring out kind of what I like and what I want. At the core of it all is just understanding. Understanding truth. Understanding reality. Understanding myself. Understanding people. Understanding how this world works. It's just the constant, never-ending search for knowledge. A sort of relentless curiosity to just know things. For the sake of knowing things. For the pursuit of, understanding itself. I feel like that at its core, to be honest, is what everybody strives for, on a very basic level at least. Because to get anything that we want, we kind of need to understand how to get it. And that requires knowing things about the world so that you can take the required actions to get there. But I feel like I just want to know things on a deeper level. And like that's just my natural default state of being. And it's not like I can speak for anyone else or like make all these assumptions about what other people want. But I'm starting to realize that's what I want. To just understand everything. And that's impossible. But that doesn't mean I won't try, because that's what I was put on this earth to do, I guess. That's just how my being is made up. How my being is made up. How I exist in this world, you know. Whatever you want to call it. Your soul, my soul, the makeup of the neurons in my brain and the code of my genetics and whatever makes me up. I just have this desire to understand everything. And maybe that desire and drive will lead to something good. But regardless of whether it does, I think I would do it anyway. Maybe in the back of my mind I have like this idea that understanding truth and the world and reality is for the benefit of most people. Like I said before, we all want things, and to get what we want, we need to have knowledge and understanding of how to get a thing. So I know that by tackling the foundation, I know that because of my drive to want to understand everything, I'm eventually going to reach a point where I can at least get what I want. Not that I don't have what I want right now, but God, it's confusing. I don't even know what I'm saying. uh, now that I think about it, though, understanding and knowledge embed themselves in literally every single aspect of life that we live in. But I guess I kind of want to understand. It's about what you want to understand, like have knowledge about, really. And that depends on your desires and wants. You know, when I was living with my mom in like a few months ago, my most burning desire was probably just to move out. And from that desire, I wanted to understand how to move out. And I did things and I took actions in order to make that happen. So it's like we're caught up in our body. and the desires and needs that we want. Like, obviously, I need food to survive, so like, if I want to eat food and something, then I'm going to have to focus on that problem, the current problem that I'm facing. But the reason I feel like I'm a little bit lost, I guess, is because I'm not really worrying about those things anymore. Like, making money or just pure survival. And maybe maybe I'm doing things backwards. Maybe I'm thinking too deeply about, um, which problems I'm trying to solve. Like, it's not like I'm rich or like ultra successful or something, so it's not like I won't uh, ever face those problems again where I'm worrying about like shelter or food or water, or just basic things like companionship, love, belonging, Maslow's hierarchy of needs or whatever. But I've been thinking more about just understanding everything as a whole. And maybe that's just pointless to do. But you can't help doing it. I mean, I can't help doing it. Is it stupid for a homeless person to want to think about the meaning of life? About self-actualization, whatever that means? Self-actualization. Such a silly word. Becoming who you truly are. I feel like that's what it means. And then what comes beyond that? What goes beyond that? I feel like the main point I'm making is just that I do not feel burdened by certain problems that people usually worry about. Survival, their future, getting a job, going to school, getting a good career, building a family, taking care of their parents or their loved ones or anything like that. I'm really just a observer, and obviously I'm living my own life, but I feel like I'm living my own life just to observe it and to understand. Such a paradox, such a weird loop. And maybe I'm just coping about the fact that I don't have all these things. You know, the things people typically want. Millions of dollars. Complete freedom. A strong social circle. A great job they love to do. You know, whatever it is people want. You know, at this point, I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. I was thinking yesterday, nobody can go through this life alone. And truthfully, nobody ever does. Like, every single one of us, we were brought into this world through other people. And we learn about this world through other people. And everything we do has been built off the collective shoulders of every single person that lived before us. And I just realized yesterday, because I was watching some stuff, I saw this girl who's around the same age as me, Eileen Gu, I think was her name. I just watched like a short podcast of her talking with some other girls about her life. And it's kind of interesting to see how most successful people have mentors that they rely on. And I realized that, like for her, for example, like she calls her mom her, you know, her cabinet, sort of. Like a presidential cabinet, to speak a, what's the phrase? A presidential cabinet, so to speak. And it's like a group of trusted advisors you always go back to help you, you know, navigate your way through life. And I just realized, like, I've heard that so many times, like, you need mentors and teachers and people to help you make the right decisions so that you can live your life to the best of your ability and, like, to the fullest, and get what you want and whatever it is. And I just realized I, like, never had that. And it's making me wonder where exactly I can find someone like that. And I feel like the immediate thought I had was, if not just like a person, like a strong parental figure, or even like a person in real life whose teachings you absorb. In this day and age, you can basically have anyone as a mentor, because you can just learn what they say and do and the information that they teach and preach and stuff like that. Basically, every single piece of information you see and absorb and take in acts as a compass or a little input of knowledge that you can use, but the quality of those inputs obviously matters a lot. I feel like the best place I could just start though is reading books, which I'm getting into the habit of a little bit more, and I'm being more cognizant of keeping track of all the things I consume and, you know, tracking all the things that I read, because like awareness is the first step, I believe, to understanding. If it's not intuitive, you know, understanding, awareness is the first step to understanding. So it's a whole lot of yap about not much, but I'm just talking, and this is really just for myself, to be honest. So there's no harm. People are afraid to put themselves out there, I would imagine. I mean, I'm sure I was, but it was more like not knowing what to put out there. But if you don't really have a specific outcome or goal in mind, and you're just doing things for the sake of doing things to improve a certain aspect of your life that doesn't rely on whatever outcome you get, you kind of stop caring about the result or whatever most people think you should be aiming towards. I just cleaned up my phone storage, so this is very long. I usually stop just because it stops recording when I run out of storage, but I think I'm just gonna stop here and take a shower and read a book or something. Just do this day in, day out. I had a random urge to just do something like really unexpected and different for myself, to, you know, just change up my routine for a bit, but I might think about that later. Not even anything like super crazy, just like going to the beach or something, because I've been stuck here like doing not much for a few months now, and I feel like I need a change. But yeah, whatever. That's day 30 something.